let me share a bit of a history of Emerald Directs from Malaysia, Mr. Peter and Miss Selin Ang. Miss Selin was in university when she was first introduced the Amway marketing plan in Sydney, Australia. After graduating, she continued building the business. In the early days, she built this whilst working in an international hotel chain and thereafter went self-employed in the events management industry. Mr. Peter was a producer in the film industry. As an avid lover of motorcycle adventures, surfing, and sleeping, Peter witnessed how the lifestyle of a successful Amway business owner facilitated the enjoyment of all that without sacrificing the financial responsibility of providing the best for his family. After getting married, Peter and Selin continued developing the Amway business together with the support system of Network 21, and they were able to free themselves from their traditional businesses within 2.5 years. On top of achieving time and financial freedom, the serendipity from building a business has been priceless friendships formed with their team members through working together towards a common goal. What helped them in their success? Having strong dreams, humility, and the willingness to develop new skills via the education program provided by Network 21. They do believe in having deep commitment towards following in the footsteps of those that have succeeded before them. To share her expertise on how to show the plan, let us all give a warm round of applause for Emerald Direct from Malaysia, Miss Selin Ang.
We've been waiting for so long. We've been waiting for this time to begin. We ain't getting any older. I kinda feel a little younger. Run away and embrace the day. The sun is out, won't go away. Feel the clouds on your shoulder. Touch the sky, feeling bolder. Going out, going all the way. Going high, yeah, yeah, high, yeah, yeah. Going out, going all the way. Going high, going all the way. Going up, going all the way. Going up, going all the way. Going higher. Break the mold, then press repeat. Get 'em up on the edge of their seats. Set your aim a little higher. We're gonna go there. Going up, going out, going all the way. Going high, yeah, yeah, high, yeah, yeah. Going up, going out, going all the way. Going higher, going all the way. Going up, going all the way. Going up, going all the way. Going We've been waiting for so long. We've been waiting for this time to begin. We ain't getting any older. I kinda feel a little younger. Going up, going out, going all the way. Going high, yeah, yeah, high, yeah, yeah. Going up, going out, going all the way. Going high, going all the way.
Hello and greetings from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I hope you're enjoying the program so far and that you are excited about what's possible for you, your loved ones over the next few months in the year 2023 and beyond. Now, we're going to talk about showing the plan today, and given the amount of crazy things that's been happening for the past few years, I thought we'll revisit this with the focus of going back to basics, because I really like the basics. It's what helped me build a business. And this is taken out from a starting point book, and it talks about action. Right? No amount of dreaming, goal setting, and planning will move you forward until you take action. And the beautiful news is in our business, the action that we need to take is really simple. It's lumped under what's called the activity loop, and that's probably how you and I ended up, watching this program. Now, if you allow me to share now, how did I get into this business? So many years ago, one afternoon when I was working, my boss actually asked me into his consultation room, and he said he wanted to speak to me about something. So that was his way of making an appointment, and I guess maybe I was on his list. And rather unconventional, but it happens sometimes. You may have an opportunity where you can run through the business opportunity plan with your friends in a rather casual way. So what he did, he scribbled down the plan on a paper, an Amway, and he proceeded to move me through the next step, which is the follow through, where he invited me to what's called a business preview and info night, which is a weekly event. You may have that on Zoom or live, I'm not too sure, but whatever the case is, that's the process that brought me through researching about this business and eventually growing the business. Now, this could be your first meeting, which is an end-to-one connect. But whatever the case, for us to grow our organization, to create the time and financial freedom, is really to work through this activity loop. Now, I'm going to focus on showing the business plan. Okay. Now, I like things really simple, and I've been taught in this business as well by our mentors to always have the end in mind. So why do we show the plan? And to me, there's just two simple objectives. The first one is, when I show the plan, I want them to join my business. I want them to be part of my business community, okay? Which is to register them to get an app, okay? The second one is to book another appointment to bring them through the research process, to expose them to audios, functions, the team, and to help them to get some results where they may decide to join me as an active business partner, okay? Now, what are some of the difference makers now? There are times when I've been effective, and there are times when I'm not as effective when I'm showing the plan. And this is what I found makes a difference. Now, the first one is extremely important, which is having a clear goal. And I'm just going to put this up. What's clarity? When we talk about a clear goal. Now, earlier on, there is a leader session, and if you did not qualify for the leader session, I strongly encourage you to work together with the person who invited you into this session. Find out about how you can qualify for the next leader session where you get the really juicy stuff, okay? Now, we spoke about 10-year timeline, which is essentially knowing where you want your life to be in 10 years' time. What is the design of your life, right? We always talk about living life by design. And what is the design of your life? And my mentor, Founders Crown Ambassador, he terms the 10-year timeline. It's a little bit like having the cover of the jigsaw puzzle box, okay? And our lives, there are so many pieces of jigsaw, okay? There are so many things in our life, but what are we trying to do? What is the end picture we're trying to put together? And when you do this exercise called the 10-year timeline, you are able to know, okay, that's where I want to end up. Then the rest becomes simple, because building the business is about creating the resources to enable to live that life. And that's when we can start planning a 3-year goal, a 1-year goal. What do we want to achieve by the next WLS? What needs to be done this month, this week, and why am I showing the plan today, right? And it gives meaning and purpose to what we are doing, and it creates excitement, okay? And this I find incredibly important because when there's excitement, we get results. Like, people can feel our excitement, and we should be excited if we know where we're heading. And people like to follow people who know where they're going, right? And whenever I'm not clear on what I want to do, I find that somehow I'm not as effective. So I hope that you will work on having some clear goals, okay? Now, people skills. Why is this important? When we start showing the plan, we may be sharing with our friends and families, people who already know us, and that is fine. But eventually, with any business, whether it's a travel business, a restaurant business, a legal firm, you need to go beyond your context, right? You need to have more than just friends and family coming to your restaurant. So you're going to end up meeting people who don't know you, and you don't know them. And what's important is that they must at least like you to want to listen to you. And we've all had that experience walking into a shop. right? We may want to buy something, and if for whatever reason the salesperson is not listening to what we're saying, they are disagreeing or they're irritating, we just won't want to do business with them. Now, how do you learn to be likable? I'm going to hold up this book. It's Skills with People by Les Giblins, and it's been very helpful in guiding me in to become a more likable person. And I've put on a slide, just a couple of tips. Number one, smile. It helps to smile, because when you smile, people will smile back, and we put people at ease. And what's also important is to praise people. People like to be praised, right? You like praises too, and that puts them in a good mode with you, right? Good rapport, and to be agreeable. Now, when you're starting to show the plan, you may have the tendency of wanting to disagree because when you're explaining it, and if they're stating something which is inaccurate, you will tend to want to disagree. But what I've learned, disagreeing is like rubbing them against the wrong way. And read up on this book. It will definitely guide you better in how to be agreeable and not argue. Okay, now this is important. People don't care how much you know unless they know how much you care. I learned this, I believe, from Founders Crown Ambassador Nancy Dornan, and it made so much sense to me. Right? If we're sitting in front of a person who they don't even bother to ask how's our day, how are we doing, and they're not even listening to us, why would we want to listen to anything they want to say? And after all, the process of showing the plan is showing someone a solution to get what they want. And if we don't take the time to ask questions to find out what do they want, then how can we say we are showing them solution to what they want? Okay, I hope that makes sense. Now, posture. Now, what's posture? The next sentence will say it all, right? Which is, they need you, you don't need them. Now, what does that mean? Now, when we are first starting to build a business, we think, okay, in order for my business to grow, I need them to join me. But actually, over time, you will realize the people that you're showing the plan to, they need you. Why? Because you have the answers to their problems. You are the one who can connect them to an amazing company called Amway. You are the one who can connect them to an amazing support system called Network 21. And you are the one who can connect them to the amazing team, the line of sponsorship that you're working in with. And there are people who have already achieved, time freedom, financial freedom, the lifestyle that your prospects will want. And whoever I show the plan to, they could be very wealthy, but I always wonder, okay, they're wealthy, they're successful, but compared to whom, right? And when I think about my Founders Crown Ambassador, and when you think about yours as well, you think about the lifestyle they have, right? The health that they have, the quality of life is like, wow, second to none. And when I'm showing the plan, I think about showing them my upline's business, like Robert Ancasa and Sonia Agustina's business, Mitch and Idri Salah's business, the Dornan's business. Oh boy, that gives me great posture to share. Okay, and what else is important, I feel, in a plan is to keep your messaging really simple, right? I'm going to go through this a little later. In short, don't try to overcomplicate your plan. It's a little bit like a student who maybe just want to start learning piano, and what if the teacher gives them notes, Mozart, Beethoven, and the poor student haven't even started knowing what's a musical note. Okay, when too much is given, it could be overwhelming, and they get stuck. And when they are stuck and when they're confused, they will say this: I need time to think about it. Okay. And when I hear that being said to me, I know, I've said too much already. Okay, now let's continue. It's linked to the next point, actually. Now, to prevent you from saying too much, your plan, the session should not be too long, okay? And if it's a full plan, connecting, closing, leading on into some basic steps, maybe an hour and a half. But I know nowadays online, you could do a brief plan, which is about 20 minutes. And how do you establish the duration? I find what's really helpful is to ask, oh, by the way, when's your next appointment? Okay? And if they give you a timeline, at least you know how much time you have. And if they say, oh, my next appointment is in 10 minutes time. And what I learned from Founders Crown Ambassador Mitch Sala, then you can say, oh, that's great. Mine is in the next 5 minutes actually. Okay, or something like that. And obviously with a limited time, there you can't show the full plan. You can run through, and I'm sure in your team, you've got various things that you can run through. You can run through a quick plan, cash flow quadrant. I'm not too sure, but there's always ways to just give an intro and then continue later. Okay, now continuing on, I'm just going to share with you some techniques about showing the plan. And this, again, I've learned from Founders Crown Ambassador Mitch Sala, and there are audios on this as well from Tamsin Linan, Founders Emerald Tamsin Linan. And I'm sure in your market, if you look up showing the plan in your N21 mobile, you will find a lot of audios that speaks about this, and perhaps some by your amazing local leaders as well. Okay, now, so whatever I'm going to share with you, if it doesn't make sense, please check upline. And so the purpose is just to share with you some principles that you can apply to help you to get good results. Okay, now, so the first step whenever I'm sitting in front of somebody is to connect. So what's connecting? Connecting is truly about finding out, what could be their priorities now, what could be their hot button or their pain button, right? And we find this out by asking them questions about them. And there is a formula called FORM. F stands for family, O for occupation, R for recreation. If you had more time and money, what would you like to do? And M stands for message. Yeah, from asking and listening, you would get like an idea about what they're frustrated about. And just to give you an example, recently I showed a plan to one of my bankers, and in conversation he was talking about work, and obviously it's challenging. There's always sales quota to meet. And I asked him, what's your plan for the next few years? Are you staying in a company, or, do you see yourself working in the next 10 years? And he actually said, well, I plan to retire in the next 5 years. And I'm like, okay, that's great. And how do you plan to do it? And I let him share a little bit. And I said, hey, what if I can show you a way to get to your goal faster? Would you like that? And of course he would. So that's really connecting. Okay, he has a need, a goal, and I'm going to show him the plan, which is how to get to his goal, right? And to move into the plan, I like to do what's called easing into the plan. And what is this? This is just asking permission to pull out what you're going to pull out, be it your tablet, your laptop, your phone, to run through the plan, or even pen and paper. I generally like to say, oh, yeah, you don't mind if I use pen and paper to run through what I'm going to share? And why do I like to say that? Because people like to be asked. When you ask them for permission for something, they feel important, they feel validated. So try that, okay? Now, so show the plan, whether it's from your tablet or phone or on a paper, on the computer, it doesn't matter. And when we go into showing the plan, now, this is what I always remind myself. Don't get carried away talking about how great Amway is, how great Network 21 is, how great your team is, how great the audios and the functions are. And to the prospects, like, yeah, okay, so what? What's in it for me? So when we're talking about Amway, be sure to connect that to them. So for example, if we say, okay, Amway is in 100 over countries around the world, and in Malaysia, they've been around for 40 over years. So what's their turnover? Which means you get to partner with a global company. Yeah, and that is solid and stable, right? And if we talk about Network 21, and there is a support system, it's being used in many countries around the world in many languages, which means when you want to build this business, you don't have to be wasting your time, trying out various approach. There's already a proven approach that allows you to save your time because you're such a busy person. Okay, so in short, when we're showing them the plan, we are actually showing them solution to get to what they want. And in the process of showing the plan, I would also, obviously show the numbers, yeah, the income, and then linking it back to like, okay, can you see now, can this amount help you with your retirement? Now, just a note, when it comes to Amway, when I'm showing the plan and I mention Amway, I would always allow them to share with me what they think about Amway, what were their past experiences, and I would encourage you to do that as well. And oftentimes when I say Amway, our partner is Amway, and some of them will say, "Oh, Amway, okay," and I'm like, "Oh, tell me more. What's your past experience?" And the more you encourage them to verbalize, the more you understand what they think about Amway and where are the points of their resistance. Like, "Oh, okay. Oh, you mean your friends, they were trying to sell you products? Okay. So they operated like sales agent. Okay, right. So they were bugging you to recruit people. Oh, okay. I understand that. And why would they do that?" And then once they verbalize and they feel acknowledged, and then I would ask, "Okay, so can you see the difference in what I'm trying to share with you with your past experience?" And most of them would say, "Yeah, okay. Now, so allow me to continue and I'll go on with the plan." And then we have this conversation where we are still engaged and it's not like me against you, okay? Now, so what is the next step? After showing the plan, I would like to ask them like, "Okay, so I've gone through the details. Now, please tell me, what is it that you like about what you've heard?" Now, in the past, I would ask them, "What do you like?" Or "What do you think?" In the past, I would say, "What do you think about what you heard?" And I find that to be a big mistake because somehow we're wired to think negatively. So in the past, when I ask them, "What do you think?" Usually it's very random, ideas, and which is useless. So I find when I ask them, "What do you like about, what I've shared so far? Is there something which is a highlight?" And they will point out a highlight. I'm saying, "Okay, that's great." And what I'll do, and I'm just sharing with you what I do, and you can check with your team what you guys do to do close. So I would say, "Okay, if you don't mind," and I'll pull up this sheet or I'll put it on the screen. I'll say, "I'll give you a summary of what I've just gone through," right? And the long story of our plan truly is just about firstly connecting the end user, you, to the manufacturer, right? And you can see on this sheet, it says, Smart Shopper, Shoppreneur Program. It's really just terms that we use, but you can use it as well. But check upline first. And then I'll say, "Okay, we're buying stuff from the supermarket anyway. So we're just saying, hey, look, why not buy directly and be a smart shopper? Does that make sense?" And most of them will say, "Yeah, of course it makes sense." And if it makes sense for you, it will make sense for 40 of smart shoppers, 100 of smart shoppers, and so on. To come together, and that's how profit is being generated. Okay, now, but putting that aside, I would ask them, "Do you use any Amway products? Have you used them before?" And if they say yes, I'll say, "Wow, great, you're doing better than me. Yeah, when I started, I've not used any Amway products before, and let me just run through an exercise with you." And I'll show them this list, and I'll say, "Could you do me a favor and just tell me, looking at this list, what are items that you're currently already buying?" Okay, if I'm face to face with them, I'll give them this sheet and they'll just tick, and I'll say, so that go through this sheet so that I can show you a cost savings calculation. Okay, so that's what I do. And likewise, if it's on screen, and I'll just ask them to read out to me what are they using, and I'll just have one sheet with me where I'll tick. And then at the end of it, I'll just hold it up and I'll say, "Wow, fantastic." So what this means is, with or without the Amway business, these are products you need to buy anyway, right? They say, "Yeah." Okay, and I will ask them, "So how much roughly would you spend on these products every month?" And the answers will vary, right? Some are high amounts, low amounts, and I just did some conversion for you. And the amount I like to settle on is around about 100 USD a month. Okay, in Malaysian ringgit, I usually use a smaller example, but just for the sake of sharing this with you, and I would say, yeah, some families, they spend much more, and if you're a bachelor, obviously you will spend way less. But we're talking about a business, right? So we're talking about all types of demographic, and let's just say the expenses is 100 a month. And when we shop directly, the average savings is around about 25%, which is about $25 a month. Now, it's not a lot, but if we found $25 on the street, hey, we'll be pretty happy, right? And And these are items we will buy month in, month out. And over a process of 12 months, guess what? That's already 300 ringgit in savings or $300 in savings. And here's the scary part. God willing, we'll be brushing our teeth, washing our hair, or doing laundry for the next 10 years. And if we multiply this by 10, whoa, that's a whooping $3,000 that we'll be, giving away. And this is your hard-earned money. So can you see for today, would it make sense to just start by allowing you to be a smart shopper so that you can shop directly and save on your hard-earned money? Okay, and honestly, that's my close. I like to just keep it very simple. And I said, of course, from here, you are able to research the business from the inside. And when you start experiencing some of the products and coming along to some of the events and listen to some of the audios, you are going to see how the income part of this business is going to be possible for you and to get to your retirement goals sooner. Okay, now, so the next step is truly, after helping them to register, and I've done registration online where I say, okay, yeah, right, so we can share screen. I said you can go to Amway account and walk through the sign up, or if I'm face to face with them, and I'll say, okay, you have your phone on you, why don't you, just go to Google and search out Amway and Amway Malaysia, Amway Philippines, Brunei, Singapore, whatsoever, and it's really simple. You can just key in your details, and I'll walk them through, and they create their account. Okay, and of course I said, there's nothing to lose, right? By being a member, you have 1 year to experience the benefit, and for whatever reason, if you don't like it, you can quit and get your money back. Absolutely nothing to lose. And in every market, there's some kind of new members benefit. I will highlight that as well, right? And so just to wrap it up, and I'll say the next step, all right? Like, okay, fantastic. Now you've gotten your account, and hey, let's get together again. Maybe same time tomorrow. I would love to show you some of the vouchers that you can use. And also, I'm going to send you some audios, and maybe by tomorrow, you have some questions to ask, and I'll continue, we can continue this conversation, and you can see how money can actually be made, right? And that's really taking the person to the next step, which is a follow-up or a startup, okay? And at the follow-up and startup, what do? We help them to make a list, we help them to create an appointment, and we help them to show the plan to grow their community. So truly, the principles of this business, the activities, they are really simple, and we just need to do it over and over again and stay focused, excited in doing it, right? And I'm just going to wrap up by sharing with you some audio references. These are fantastic audios by legends in our business who have created large businesses. And I'm sure there are certain things that I've missed out on covering today. And go through these audios, and it'll give you, different ideas from different personalities on how they handle this, right? And also, these are crazy, awesome books. They have really helped me in being able to connect better with strangers, being able to understand people, being able to bring them from where they are to where I want them to be. Okay, now I hope this session has been helpful to you. And like I said, whether we're doing it online, offline, one-on-one, or in a group, there are certain human principles or people skills principles that cannot be violated. And there are certain, like principles in what we want to do that cannot be violated. So if we apply those basic principles and keeping the end in mind simple and clear, it really doesn't matter, how we're showing the plan, online, offline, remember the end in mind, and we'll be able to get the results, okay? And of course, with a lot of practice makes perfect, and you are all linked to amazing uplines. We're all part of the Network 21 system. So no matter what we do, we've always got someone guiding us, someone who've been creating results. And I hope my sharing has been helpful to you. So I wish you all the best. Have a great year ahead, and make all your dreams come true. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye for now.
A warm round of applause for Emerald Selin for that wonderful lesson on flexibility with showing the plans in today's changing world, both online and offline. So whether you're doing it with groups or on a more personal one-on-one level, I hope you picked up some tips. But do keep in mind, always check with upline.